Right now on Denver 7 News at 7 a.m. on Local 3, federal investigators are on the scene of another deadly plane crash in Broomfield.
It's hard for us as first responders and those of us in the community and residents to see this.
What we've learned this morning from witnesses.
The White House is monitoring cases of monkeypox in the U.S. We're taking a closer look at the virus and symptoms to look out for.
And today is the day to secure your spot to hike to one of Colorado's most iconic places. Reservations for Hanging Lake open later this morning. Nice to see it back in its full glory after it was a muddy mess last year. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. It'll be nice to see some warmer weather here. Maybe a few storms still, though. Meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo is here with the forecast.
Yeah, by midweek, it's going to be warmer. Yeah. A lot more summer-like as we head into the weekend after what was a winter-like weekend. Right now, we're looking at here in town, some pretty dry conditions. A few showers actually crossing east over I-25, closer to spots like Fort Collins, north up into Wellington, there across the Colorado-Wyoming border, and we've seen some snow in the mountains, too. It'll be a slow warm-up for us today. We're in the 40s now. We'll see some low 50s by about 10 o'clock, and then it'll be a good 10 degrees warmer than that, so highs close to 60 this afternoon. Mix of sun and clouds and a chance for a few scattered showers. Tomorrow you're going to find a much better chance of some wet weather, so I'll take you through our futurecast here over the next 48 hours, coming up and show you when you're likely going to see wet roads for the commute. It's cooler tomorrow too, Jason, but then again, that warm up. Details on the Super 7 day.
All right, some wet roads up in the mountains, as you mentioned, with the snow that we've had up that way. Also some fog south. You can see up here at the Vale Pass over the Eisenhower-Johnson Tunnel in Georgetown in Idaho Springs. You even see some sunshine now in Idaho Springs, but you still have some wet roads to deal with on I-70. Take a look at I-25 south. This is the fog that's hanging in over Monument, and you can see really thick. Barely could see those cars just disappear into the fog, and then they're gone, and so that's going to be a visibility problem, obviously, with some wet roads northern El Paso County on the north side of the Springs. We did have a crash over here on 6th Avenue at Sheridan. All lanes are open, which is good news. Traffic starting to ease up through there. The rest of the drive looks pretty heavy standard in some of the usual spots for us, including out to the east side of town, but nothing else major going on or off the highway. So waiting for some other wet weather to deal with later on today, and dealing with some of it right now in certain parts of the state.
Well, a quiet Broomfield neighborhood yesterday was shaken by a deadly plane crash that came very close to homes. Now federal investigators are trying to figure out how it happened. The two people on board died. Incredibly, no one on the ground was hurt.
And this is the second deadly plane crash in Broomfield this month. One person was killed after crashing into an intersection near El Dorado Boulevard and Interlochen Loop back on May 11th.
Want to bring in Denver 7's Veronica Acosta now near the latest crash site. This is in the Anthem Ranch neighborhood of Broomfield, as residents and city leaders are wondering what is going on.
They are, and as you can imagine, it was a really terrifying moment for all of the people who live in this neighborhood. Take a look at the actual scene here behind me. The sidewalk's still closed off this morning, and this gives you a good look at just how close that plane crash was to some of the actual homes in this neighborhood. It was a nice day yesterday. People were out walking their dogs. They were enjoying the day when that small plane did come crashing down. We spoke with one woman who lives in this neighborhood. She heard the plane crashed as she was getting ready. Go ahead and take a listen.
My husband was saying, I said, it sounds like a plane crash to me. And he said, you know, we listened and it was odd because there wasn't any bang, bang, bang. It was just this thud.
Now, Sherry Jones, that's who you just heard from there. She told us her neighbors were among the first out of their homes, checking on that plane crash, trying to see what exactly had happened. She told us those neighbors tried to help the victims in the crash, but realized they were dead, unfortunately, pretty quickly. The single-engine plane came down in this small neighborhood. It's called the Anthem Ranch subdivision, like you all said. It happened before noon yesterday. The plane itself took off from the Erie Municipal Airport, and according to the FAA registry, it is a 56-year-old plane. Now, as you can imagine, the next step is that full-blown investigation into how this happened. The FAA, NTSB, they're in charge of that. After investigators verify that registration number, they'll release that. And we do expect some more information to come our way later this morning after officials hold a press briefing. So, of course, we'll keep you all updated on what comes of that. We're in Broomfield this morning. I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
All right, thank you, Veronica. Some breaking news. Denver police are investigating a triple shooting. It happened just after 4 this morning near the Denver Rescue Mission and Samaritan House on Lawrence Street. Officers found 2 men and a woman shot. Police are not releasing what condition they're in right now and are working to learn more about a possible suspect. Also new overnight, Pfizer says 3 doses of its COVID-19 vaccine protects kids under the age of 5. The company plans to give data to U.S. regulators this week. The FDA and CDC approved booster shots for kids 5 to 11 years old last week.
Well, after saying that monkeypox is something we should be concerned about, President Biden now says the U.S. is ready to respond to this virus, which is rarely seen outside of Africa. Denver 7's Christian Lopez has some important context about this virus making headlines this morning.
President Biden sent a more encouraging message out this morning saying that the smallpox vaccine would be effective against monkeypox, and he added that there would be enough vaccine supply in the U.S. if it was needed. Monkeypox is rarely found outside of Africa, but so far there have been 80 confirmed cases worldwide and another 50 suspected cases. This disease is similar to smallpox with milder symptoms. It takes about 2 to 4 weeks to recover from monkeypox, but it can be deadly in some cases. Experts say while people should be careful, they don't think this rises to the level of concern that we saw with COVID-19.
This is a virus that's not nearly as transmissible as something like COVID-19. It requires very close, some people say face-to-face intimate contact. Its transmissibility is way down. And it's important to remember that because it does have some resemblance to smallpox, although it produces much less severe disease, we have all of these antiviral drugs, at least 2 different antiviral drugs and 3 different vaccines.
There have been 2 confirmed cases of monkeypox in the U.S., one in New York and one in Massachusetts, and there is a 3rd one being investigated in Florida. Live this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Thank you, Christian. The first batch of imported baby formula is now in the U.S. It was the first of several planes expected to arrive in the coming days and weeks, but the shortage of baby formula is still severe. In fact, it's getting worse. ABC's M. Nguyen has the latest from Washington.
This morning, some relief for desperate parents. Enough specialty baby formula for 500,000 8-ounce bottles now in the U.S. after the administration used a C-17 military cargo plane to fly it in from Germany. President Biden tweeting these photos, writing, "Our team is working around the clock to get safe formula to everyone who needs it." This formula heading to hospitals and medical providers to distribute to parents whose babies are allergic to cow milk proteins. This comes as ABC News has learned at least 4 infants in South Carolina were recently hospitalized due to complications. 3 of them admitted when their parents were forced to use alternatives to their normal formula, and their babies couldn't tolerate the switch.
Our patients and families across the country are in urgent need of this formula.
Still, millions of parents remain stressed as data shows the shortage nationwide is getting worse, with about 45% of baby formula out of stock.
You can cut the desperation with a knife. Nothing else matters. The world stops until you find that formula.
In New York City, the mayor declaring a state of emergency to prevent price gouging. President Biden announcing the first 2 Defense Production Act authorizations aimed at increasing domestic supply, including allowing key formula maker Abbott Nutrition to receive priority orders of raw materials. Abbott, which the New York Times says controls nearly half of the domestic formula supply, had to shut down a plant in February due to possible contamination. The White House also announcing another shipment of formula will arrive at Dulles Airport later this week. Abbott CEO expressed remorse in an op-ed at his company's role in the ongoing shortage, predicting they'd restart the facility in June but wouldn't have any product to offer families until July. M. Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
Reservations open this morning at 10 a.m. for Hanging Lake. If you've never been, it's a beautiful green lake in a basin in Glenwood Canyon. There are several waterfalls that feed the lake. The trail to the lake was wiped out after wildfires and mudslides last year, but a temporary trail is scheduled to open June 25th. Permits are $12 per person. Reservations can be purchased on the website visitglenwoodsprings.com. And starting Friday, reservations open for 3 of Colorado's other beautiful places. These are timed entry reservations for Rocky Mountain National Park, Pikes Peak, and Mount Evans. Mount Evans is scheduled to open this weekend, but that could change depending on cleanup from the snowstorm.
Well, the Avs have regained the lead in their playoff series against the St. Louis Blues. They lead 2-1 now. Game 4 is tonight. They were able to win 5-2 on Saturday, but not without some controversy over this play. About 7 minutes in, Nazem Kadri and a Blues player were chasing a loose puck. They collided, and it caused Kadri to barrel into the goalie there, who is now out for the rest of the series with a knee injury.
You know, defenseman kind of collided with me and pushed me into him. So, you know, had that not been the case, I don't think I would have hit him at all. It's a loose puck. I'm just trying to bang it in.
Yeah, the refs didn't call a penalty on Kadri, and the NHL says it is no longer looking into the incident. However, Kadri has received threats after the play. It's getting very intense on the ice. Avs player Sam Girard is also out with a broken sternum. Puck drops tonight at 7:30.
Well, check your cabinets before making lunch for you and the kids today. There's a recall of a popular brand of peanut butter, which Jif products are linked to a salmonella outbreak. Plus,
I'm John Matteries. A family is denied boarding their Caribbean cruise and out thousands of dollars, all over missing one little piece of paper. You need to know about this before you travel. That story coming up.